Okay, we are live at the Date Your Donors podcast at the Armin Hotel in Stamford, Connecticut at the EDN conference, the Executive Directors Network Conference. Our podcast is generously sponsored by JEY Furniture, which we are actually interviewing today. So I'm very excited. So I'm going to read the official pitch, and then we're going to dig into an interesting conversation, predominantly around capital campaigns and the importance of getting it right when it comes to furnishings and how that presents itself to donors. But we're going to dig in a second. I want to just say that JEY Furniture is a wonderful partner. They partner with Jewish day schools across North America to create beautiful, functional spaces that support learning and connection. As a family-run business with decades of experience, JEY understands the unique needs of Jewish institutions and delivers furniture that's as durable as your mission. Visit jeyfurniture.com, that's JEY Furniture.com, to learn how they can support your school's next upgrade. Okay. We are here with Mr. Heshi Kovalenko, who is the CEO. Is that your title?
Vice President.
Vice President of JEY Furniture, along with Rabbi David Mandel, who is, what's your title? Executive Director of the Yeshiva Day School of Las Vegas. Very nice to have you guys here. So this is an interesting thing. I'm gonna introduce both of you in a moment here, but what I'd like to talk about today is, there's a lot of vendors here. There's a lot of people who have wonderful services. They do wonderful work for the different organizations. But the podcast that we have really aims to help people who are Jewish education professionals on the administration side help build sustainable, growing organizations. And a lot of the work that we do is often capital, infrastructure, investing in building out the future of a school. And you're not building a building, you're building the future of a school, right? It's what it represents. When you go to donors, it's about what that represents to those donors, about, well, this is what we're going to look like over the next 25, 30 years. And it's very easy to get caught up in the minutia and forget that what the bigger vision is. So what I'd like to talk about today is, first, give us a little bit of context, Mr. Kovalenko, about what JEY Furniture is, what the nature of the work is, and then I would like to hear from you, Rabbi Mandel, about how that integrated into the work that you did, and especially when it came to doing a capital campaign, how important that process was to your donors and to the success of your campaign, and of course to Jewish education, so the kids are getting what they need, because in the end of the day, that's your real customer. Okay, Mr. Heshi, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Jonah. First of all, it's a pleasure to be a sponsor and to meet you in person and all the wonderful work that you do. And I'm very, very happy that we have Rabbi Mandel here as a live
an example
exactly of when we work together, how we could really be successful. We're successful and the school is very successful.
Beautiful. Okay, so how long have you been in business? How long have you been doing this work? Where's your expertise come from? How did you do this?
Our expertise, we're in business almost 5 years right now. We started off very small, literally in my dining room.
Yeah.
And we've grown over the last 4 or 5 years, and we have a full staff of 15 employees right now, designers, space planning. We do full color renderings, and we help actually the school develop a plan and actually design the space so that the classrooms are functional and aesthetically looking beautiful.
Right.
And once they have that, they're able to, first of all, go out to do a capital campaign, like we discussed.
Sure.
To be able to show the potential donors what the school will look like or could look like if they have the funds available to them.
How much education has to happen? Do people know from the beginning how important it is to invest in the kind of the strategic planning around it, or do they just think, I need a bunch of desks and chairs? In other words, do you come in and say, whoa, hold on, before you just go buy everything, is that, and actually, even Rabbi Mandel, you're shaking your head vigorously, saying that there is a lot lack of knowledge in this. Did you know when you went into this what it was going to, or did you get a real heavy education from JEY Furniture?
Yeah, so great question. First of all, thank you for having me on. It's really an honor to be with you, Jonah. I love your videos. I love your inspiration.
Oh, thank you.
Date Your Donors. I eat it up. So, and of course, when I'm at the EDN, I'm at home. I love it.
Yes.
So, JEY Furniture, that's a great question. So honestly, we had a really good education in terms of knowing that everything at the end has to be there at the beginning. Sof ma'aseh b'achshavat techila, kind of how Hashem made the world. The plan is there first. So it was good because we were in a very in a not Jewish space, because we were out in Vegas. We were using even the guy was Jewish. He was familiar with the typical commercial real estate. He was a developer, and then we used an architect who was building schools, but not necessarily Jewish ones. So their whole motto was, what it's going to look like is how you're going to draw it. If it's not on paper, it's not going to happen. So they gave us that info, and they drilled that into us. Whatever you're going to do, every single screw, every single socket, the design of everything has to be there before.
So now, that mindset was basically like the foundation for how you were going to approach even the furnishings of the school.
100%. Now, we were lucky that we had that. Most people I speak to look at it the second way that you mentioned, which is, we just need desks and chairs. The designer will figure out how to build a classroom. The designer is going to figure out where all the plugs go, where the screen goes, where the board, I don't know what they call it nowadays, smart board, or the front of the classroom, the teacher's desk, and then we just order this stuff. So thank God we got JEY Furniture involved. Maybe a little bit after the initial drawings were done. If I would have got them earlier, it would have been even better. I'll give you an example, because Mr. Kovalenko's partner, Israel Meir Judowitz, came down, and he actually, which is one of the great things about JEY Furniture, they came down literally with a tape measure. Okay, this is the owner of the company. I don't know what his title is, right. And he came down literally with a tape measure. He's like, I saw your plans. We got 50 pages of plans. He's like, no, I'm measuring every single one. And of course, he found certain things were off.
Discrepancies between the plans and the. There you go.
And he literally, as he was walking through, he's like, this hallway shouldn't be there. Like, if you're gonna have the hallway here, where the cubby's gonna go. And I understood that, he's not just a furniture guy. He understands the classroom. He understands where's the teacher walking in, where's the front of the board, front of the classroom supposed to be, how the kid's gonna, like, what I could say is they understand kids, okay? And not only kids, because we went all the way from 2-year-old in preschool all the way to 8th grade. And we actually have 3 or 4 different versions of chairs, desks. Right. There's a middle school desk, there's a preschool desk. It's totally different. And I didn't know that going in. Now, I took information from my staff, but these guys are experts. This is what they do. That's by the way, and that's why I use them, because I said I'm not building a school with some Vegas. I'm not going out there and just getting desks and chairs.
Right.
I'm taking someone from Lakewood who understands durability. They're going to get kicked around. I want it to last. We're spending a lot of money on this, and also, like you mentioned before, okay, I'm talking about a lot of things in one shot.
No, that's good.
But selling to donors, like, you want to sell that you're using a top-notch place, and that's going to come across that you're not just buying. You're not just ordering them from Amazon, okay? Not only that, I actually did a comparison. We actually bid it out to the local vendors. Like, our contractors, like, I know how a guy that does furniture, and they did a bunch of stuff, metalwork. It was off the shelf. Like, the cubbies were like, okay, you get the standard cubbies and just put them all in the classrooms. That's not what they did. When they came in there, they're like, no, this grade means this size, and obviously we're going to go all the way to the ceiling. That wasn't coming with the off the shelf stuff that you get from Amazon. Literally measuring every single thing. Now that's just in the start of the design. Once we went into the design phase, like, stuff happens. Things change. The architect changes. You decide you want a door. You need another thing. Along the way, we need an IT closet we forgot to put in, so that has to move. The entire time, we're in touch with the designers at JEY Furniture. They have a dedicated person. When I was in Lakewood, I came into the office because it's the same thing. You have to be in it. You have to be in the sugya. I cannot reiterate this too many times.
Right.
You need your furniture people to be part of the design of the school. Sof ma'aseh b'achshavat techila. If it's not in the plans, they can't fix it.
Right.
They can't come in there and say, no, the teaching walls here, all the wires are there, all the electricity, all the plugs. They were telling me where to put plugs, because they're like, well, if the teacher's desk is here, you need a computer. My architect didn't know that. My designer didn't know that. No colors. The architect just wants to get, how many classrooms you need into a certain amount of space. The designer just wants to make it look nice to the eye.
Right.
That's not
Everyone has their own agenda, but it's not consolidated.
But the main agenda is the kids and their parents and the donors who are saying, what does a school look like that doesn't have desks? It's an office building.
So, Mr. Kovalenko, what's the?
Sorry.
No, that was perfect. Thank you. That was wonderful. I want to ask you. when you're going to do a capital campaign, you tend to kind of break down into broad categories, like the line items of what it's going to cost. If it's a $15 million capital campaign, okay, this is what the building is, and this is what the landscaping is. So it's important to have upfront clarity on the furnishings, the renovations, or whatever those pieces go into. Do the clients, when they come to you, if they come to you early on, have you found that to be helpful when it came to them launching a capital campaign with that out? Or do they come to you too late and they go, we already told our donors it would cost, like what has been your experiences of how that's played out?
Right, that's a great question. My experience, our experience is actually that the school, they're running the school. They're not, they don't, when it comes to budgeting of what school furniture actually costs, what does it cost to furnish this school properly? And we're not talking about furnishing it a Rolls Royce. We're talking about furnishing it a middle of the road, top quality. What will it cost? I find that they have no idea. Simply, there is a lack of knowledge, and it's the truth is it's impossible. How will a school principal, even administrator, understand what today's prices are? What is a cover unit going to cost? Teacher's desk. There's so many a library. There's so many things that you need to think about, and when you come in early on in the process, we'll actually come in, look at the design, and come up with a budget. Say, look, this school is going to cost you at a minimum $1 million. So when you go to your donors, don't ask for $1 million. You're going to need $1.5 million,
right?
Because things are going to come up. You're going to want to make some things, spruce it up, make it nicer, make it a little bit better.
Right.
So it's very hard to go into a campaign without having that knowledge beforehand. And I think that we bring that expertise and knowledge to the table. Say, look, let's go in with our eyes wide open and say, this is what let's be realistic what it's going to cost. Another point which I want to make is that a lot of times the school, they may think, we'll just put, one desk here and a couple of desks there. In reality, when you're laying out even the preschool, there's a lot of ideas that have to go in just to make the classroom functional. It's not just about aesthetics. Yes, aesthetics is beautiful, but where's the Rebbe going to sit? Where's the teacher going to sit? Which side of the classroom? And in many different...
So you're saying there has to be conversation even with the educators, the street level people who are doing the work with the kids.
Absolutely.
How do you operate in your classroom?
Absolutely. Every single school is unique. Every single school is unique. There's the ultra-Orthodox, there's the modern Orthodox, there's the Zucker schools, for example. I could tell you a million different... And everyone has their own idea of what a classroom...
And therefore they need functionality,
exactly.
Different functionality.
So when they take us on as a client, we'll come in there and we'll actually sit sometimes for months speaking to every principal, every teacher, anybody who's a decision maker, and say, this is what we want to see in the classroom. And then we'll come up with different versions we'll render out the classroom. Do we like this? Move this here, move this there. And this becomes, it's a passion that we have, but it's a passion of love because we really want education to be successful and the schools to be successful. So it comes full circle.
That's really, really interesting. I think what I'm also interested in knowing is if you're giving them a real good clarity of all the different things they're going to need, instead of them just going saying, okay, we need some desks and chairs. When it comes to the actual campaign, Rabbi Mandel, did you do like when you did the capital campaign, were there certain things that were kind of line items on this list of resources that you need that you're able to say, I can use these as dedication opportunities for people who want to give to the campaign? Like, for example, you're going to obviously talk about a volume of mezuzahs that you need in a school, right? There's lots of doorways, right? So all those can be dedicated. But do you find that when you see a comprehensive list of the resources you need on a furniture level, whether it's bookcases and things like that, was it helpful in helping you decide what dedication opportunities you should be developing? Did you find that to be a helpful part of the process?
That's a really good question. To some extent, the way I would say it is that when as Mr. Kovalenko was saying, the hours and hours and the Zoom meetings and the in-person meetings that we had with the furniture people, with their staff, was so important, was so critical. And like you said before, not just for the actual nuts and bolts, but for that vision. To sell a vision of a school, you have to have furniture. Yeah. You have to have, and every single classroom is different. In fact, when we did our kickoff, like initial dinner to sell the building, we had bought the property, we didn't renovate it yet. One of the highlights we put in was a small set of tables and chairs in the corner with a little spotlight on it, and this is what you're going to see.
A model classroom.
A model, but preschool. Yeah.
Preschool, okay.
Yeah, it wasn't from them, but the point is that we're selling. How else do you sell a school without desks and chairs.
Right.
So you have to show the vision. You have to show the future. This is children, little children learning, big children
Even
learning.
if you go into an IKEA, you can see it. They have
Exactly.
a showroom version of
Bingo.
what you're
Yes.
buying.
So today, when you do that digitally, the only way we're able to do that is by knowing exactly what's going to be in every classroom, what sizes. They gave us that information digitally. We put it into the 3D rendering. That was our video.
So your renderings also, most capital campaigns have renderings of some kind, but your renderings are a higher caliber because they're a lot more detail oriented.
Yeah, like you said about line items. I know exactly how many cabinets, how many counters, teachers' desks. The teacher's lounge was built out in the rendering based on their design. I don't know that. I didn't know that there's a wall cabinet for this type of secretary, and in the teacher's lounge is a different type. You need to have storage. Again, it's all based on conversations that they're asking us. What do you need in your school?
Right.
But then they're like, oh, well, based on what you said, this is what you need. I'm like, oh, I didn't know that.
Right.
My teachers didn't know that. My head of the preschool, who was involved in all the conversations, she knew what she wanted. She knew her vision.
Right.
She knows how she wants to teach. She knows what she wants to do with the kids, but she doesn't know what the equipment is required in order to achieve her vision.
Right.
And the same with the donors. They have no idea.
Yeah.
The donors, and for sure, donors had no idea how much the furniture costs.
Yep.
Right. Now, it happens to be I hid it from them because I didn't want to scare them.
Right.
But for me, I know how much I had to.
Right.
Now, I think Somer nailed it. By the way, the first time I just tell him how many classrooms, what ages, whatever. He's like, yeah, this is probably your budget. I fell off my chair, but he was basically right to within like $50,000.
Yeah.
So they know their stuff. And like I told you, I compared it to the local. Yes, you can build this. By the way, you could do it cheap. You could do a school. You could have a podcast with cheap microphones, but you could do a lot of things on a lower budget. I think you're not going to sell to the community the same. What you're communicating is this is a 5-year school. This is we're just getting it done. We're just yote, right? As we say in from speak. It's b'diavad. You got the job done. Okay, you did Shabbos, but to me, donors will give 10 times more when they see that you're selling a vision that we're here to stay. When I show them, they don't know that the guys out of town. They didn't know it was a Lakewood school, but they could tell looking at the renderings of that furniture. They could tell how sophisticated. Most people, even if they don't know it, they could sense what level, quality, functionality, and the vision that you're putting in. Like our renderings had the full classroom built out. Every cubby, every teacher's closet, the kids' closet, the lockers, even the base medrash. They knew exactly what chairs you need base medrash. I didn't want to go with the local guy that study hall chairs. They have no idea what that is. These guys, it's called base medrash chairs. That's what it's called.
So one of the things I would like to do is definitely, look, we at the top of the program, we shared information about how to reach JEY Furniture, but I would imagine, you have a depth and a breadth as far as experience going through this process, and it would be helpful if people want to reach out to you and get some advice or point them in the obviously point them in the right direction as far as JEY Furniture is concerned, but also give them some they say it's good to learn from your own mistakes. It's even better to learn from other people's mistakes. So if people want to reach out to you, what's the best way for people to?
100%. I call my cell phone, text me, WhatsApp, email. Yeah, I'm happy to talk about what we did, what we did right.
Sharing your email address.
dmandel, ydlv.org.
dmandel at
ydlv, Yeshiva Day School Las Vegas. .org.
Okay, perfect.
Anytime. Happy to talk about what we did right, what we did wrong, what we do differently next time, and maybe some some unknowns that came up. 100% happy to share. Again, to reiterate, 100% get your vendors, especially your furniture vendor. If you're doing a school, get them involved before you start talking to your architect. They should be part of the team. Yes, there's going to be fights. Yes, there's going to be different ways of looking at things. So what? If they're not at the table, it's going to be too late.
Right.
There are going to be things that are happening there are things that they suggested that were too late for us. But Baruch Hashem, there's certain things they did say. Yeah, you got to move this hallway. You got to turn reorient the classroom, put the door over here, because how's the teacher walking in? All that stuff, thank God they came in early enough and we mitigated a lot of things. But there were certain things I wish we would have had them on earlier. Yep.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you, Rabbi David Mendel. Thank you, Mr. Heshi Kovalenko. Really appreciate it. You're a stalwart here at the EDN. Everyone knows you. A lot of folks have used you, and I really hope many more take advantage of working with JEY Furniture. You guys really are an impeccable, consummate professional group of people. So thank you.
Okay, and I just want to add that we do work nationwide. We're not
just a local.
Based. We go all over. We have our own installation teams. We have dedicated project managers in the house. We have, people who do the renderings, the design. We're going to hold your hand from initial contact through the delivery and installation and punch list. So we'll get it done, and we'll make sure that every single thing is accounted for, and the school looks beautiful.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank
guys.
you, Jonah.
Appreciate it.